9 tips for growing cucumbers in pots. Tip 1. Choose a compact cucumber variety. For growing in pots, you need to start right by selecting a variety that increases your odds of success. If you're a beginner, I recommend you start with bush-type and advance divining cucumbers as you gain more experience. Bush varieties are known to perform well in pots since they are short, compact, and easy to grow as compared to vining ones. Examples of bush cucumber varieties include Salad Bush, Hybrid Bush Champion, Space Master, Hybrid Bush Crot Baby Bush, Bush Pickle, and Potluck. Note: carefully read the seed labels on the packets before making a purchase to identify the best choices for container gardening. Tip to select the right size of the container. Cucumbers are deep-rooted plants, so they need containers that will offer enough depth for the roots to grow. Bigger pots hold more potting soil, which in turn retains water for longer period of time. This is good for cucumbers. The size or diameter of the pot will obviously be determined by the number of plants you want to grow in a single pot. For example, a single cucumber plant requires a space of approximately 25 centimeters deep and wide. With this example, you will be able to calculate the size of the container for whatever number of plants you would wish to grow. Scrub the growing pots with a brush and soapy water thoroughly before anything else, and rinse out several times to make sure you get all the soap out. Washing helps in getting rid of any bacteria present or insect eggs that might hatch and attack your plants. You can also use 1 part bleach and 1 part water to disinfect the pots before planting. Tip 3. Use an appropriate potting soil. This is one thing that fails most gardeners, and that's not paying attention to the kind of potting soil they use. Cucumbers require a high-quality, potting soil with a pH between 6.0 and 7.0. Most commercial container mixes are designed to have an ideal pH of 7.0, which is within the recommended range for cucumbers. But in case you aren't sure of the pH of your mix, it's advisable you have it tested by a professional laboratory or local extension office also. Most commercial potting mixes have pre-mixed fertilizer, slow-release, all-purpose fertilizer in them, while others do not have. If you happen to use the one without, you will be required to add an all-purpose fertilizer into the potting mix before planting. If you're a do-it-yourself freak like me, you can prepare your own mix. A word of advice: under no circumstance should you use garden soil for growing cucumbers in pots. It might be cheap and readily available, but the drawbacks outweigh the good. For instance, the garden soil is heavy, slow to drain, and may contain insect and disease pests. Tip 4. Expose your cucumbers to enough light and temperature. Container-grown cucumbers need warm soil and at least 6 to 8 hours of full sun to thrive. It is very hard for anyone to really figure out how much direct sun an area gets. This makes most, if not all of us, assume that the plants will obviously get enough sunlight. Never make assumptions and expect your plants to thrive and give high-quality produce. Make use of technological improvements and innovation, such as a sun calculator, which helps in calculating how much sunlight a given area receives. You can also use your watch instead in time the number of hours the sun is hitting an area. Tip 5. Adequately water your cucumbers. Do not leave the soil or mix to dry, as this will inhibit growth and might lead to bitter cucumbers. The potting mix should remain moist but not wet, since too much wetness usually exposes your cucumbers to infections. Water your plants, preferably on a daily basis or whenever the soil feels dry, depending on prevailing weather condition. Slowly give your cucumbers enough water until a little drain out from the drainage holes at the bottom of the pot or container. How to check if your cucumber plants need water. Check whether your plants need watering by lifting the pot and feel its weight. The heavier it feels, the more saturated the soil is with water, therefore no need to water. But this method needs a lot of practice. Can master the weight changes before and after watering. Actually keeping a close check on the pot throughout the day for several days will help you know when the potting mix is dry. Another simple way to check if the soil is dry is by sticking your finger in it, and if it feels dry, then it's time to water your plants. You need to conserve moisture. You can do this by adding a thin layer of mulch around the plants. This also helps in reducing the frequency with which you water the cucumbers. Alternatively, you can choose to use self-watering planters, which have inbuilt reservoirs that retain moisture for long. This way you get to enjoy more time between watering, though you still need to closely monitor the moisture level. Remember, plants use most of water during the day when they're actively photosynthesizing and transpiring, so water your cucumbers in the morning unless it is expected to rain. If you're interested in learning more about watering, read this article, How to Water Potted Plants and Keep Them Happy. Tip 6. Fertilize the plants. Cucumbers are heavy
so
feeder.
add a slow release
all-purpose fertilizer into the potting mix before planting. Feed your cucumbers with a diluted or half-strength fertilizer in about 2-4 weeks after planting. This should be done once every week during the growing period. To improve crop performance, use either a commercial cucumber fertilizer or an organic fertilizer like liquid kelp or fish emulsion. It is always good to drench the mix first before adding fertilizer. In case your cucumbers are in an earth box, follow the instructions on the leaflet and add the organic fertilizer that comes with it. Note different formulations have different application rates, so read the leaflets attached to the fertilizer first beforehand. Tip 7. Use trellis to support the cucumber plants. Even though bush cucumbers do not require trellis, they do benefit from it. First of all, trellising allows the cucumber to climb along the trellis from the start, so your plants do not sprawl all over the ground. The cucumbers, therefore, will not get dirty, nor will they get damaged from the debris on the ground. In addition, the plants on a trellis have most of their leaves exposed to more sunlight, and this translates back to higher yields and improved fruit quality. Moreover, trellising helps you train your cucumbers to grow in a desired direction, therefore making use of the available vertical space. The key thing to know when using trellis is to ensure you have a strong trellis system that can withstand strong wind, because as the cucumbers grow, they will cover the trellis completely, offering lots of wind resistance. It is also important to keep your containers in an area that is well protected from wind, such that they won't be blown over. Tip 8. Protect your cucumbers from pests and diseases. The most common diseases and cucumbers are bacterial, wilt, anthracnose, downy mildew, and powdery mildew. Tip 9. Harvest your cucumbers upon reaching maturity. Depending on variety, cucumbers take approximately 50 to 70 days to reach maturity. Harvest the cucumbers while they're still small and tender by cutting them off the plant using sharp pruners or knife.